Siskiyou County Republican women welcome you to the 2019 Republican candidate debate for Assembly Seat District Number 1. This is a special election which will be held on August 27th to fill the seat vacated by Brian Daly, who is elected to State Senate District Number 1 in the last special election. We're first going to have a prayer. Our prayer is going to be by our chaplain, Carol Previn.
I just want to welcome you all as well, and I tell you that this land belongs to God Almighty, and if you don't believe, I am sorry. So we're just going to take authority and...
Okay, for the audience, I've already talked to all of the candidates about the rules, but for the audience, we're going to have a 5-minute opener for each candidate. We will take questions from the audience. So you've been given these cards. If when you have a question, if you could please give it to Louise or Richard Marshall. Louise, Richard, raise your hands. Richard's over there. Louise is in the back. And they will give them to me. Each question will be a 3-minute answer period. Our timers will hold up a yellow plate when they have 30 seconds left, a red plate with timeout, no time left. Each candidate will be able to rebut a question if they would like, and they have 1 minute to offer a rebuttal. We have 2 yes or no questions, and at the end we will wrap up. Each candidate has 3 minutes to wrap up. Did I miss anything? Okay, I think we got it. Okay, we'll start with Megan Daly. Darylyn Reed is representing her this evening and has an opening statement for Megan.
Before I give you her words, I want to say a very special thanks to Fred Scott for paying tribute to the Vietnam veterans. I just lost my little brother 3 months ago due to the effects that he suffered in Vietnam, and the VA didn't get to him in time to take care of that. And so, Fred, I really thank you for bringing that up and keeping us aware. We cannot ever forget that one. Thank you. I'm sorry to use your time. So these are Megan's words. My husband Brian and I have been married for over 20 years with 3 amazing children. Chase, our oldest, studies agricultural science at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Reagan is serving as California State Future Farmers of America Vice President. Rosalind, our youngest, at 9 years old, lights up our home with her love of song and dance. Brian and I are dryland wheat farmers. Our wheat is processed for seed, which we sell to local farmers and wholesalers alike. As a part of our business, we run a trucking division to transport our grain across the state. Our farm has full-time employees, which has given me significant insight into the difficulty of running a business. My experience as a small business owner and entrepreneur has helped me to understand the challenges and obstacles to owning and operating a business in our state. We are responsible for compliance, human resources, and finances, even as the burden of over-regulation has increased the cost of doing business in California. Until 2012, I was a co-owner of Big Valley Nursery in Beaver. My friend and I purchased the nursery from the original owner who had run the business since its founding more than 30 years earlier. Over the next few years, we remodeled, improved the greenhouses, and expanded our inventory. We later sold the nursery to one of our employees, and it remains a thriving local business. I served as president of the Big Valley Joint Unified School Board for 1 term, where I grew my passion for rural education. I advocated for and continue to support access to advanced placement and enrichment classes so that every student can achieve their full academic potential. I am committed to seeing the North State thrive. I oppose the Klamath River dams, taking them out, the removal. I am a strong supporter of our Second Amendment rights. I'm a believer and am pro-life. I have the endorsement of Sheriff John Lope and 5 other sheriffs, California professional firefighters, California correctional peace officers, California Republican Taxpayers Association, 20 county supervisors, several city and local electeds. For our former California Republican Party Chairman, Jim Brulte, and also Dr. Tirso Del Junco. The legislative Republican leaders, Senator Shannon Grove and Assemblywoman Marie Waldron. I would be honored to have your support and vote. Thank you very much. And she's in Susanville at an event right now.
Thank you, Darylyn. Mr. Jones, you have 5 minutes.
Well, thank you. First, I'd like to thank the Siskiyou County Republican Women and the Siskiyou Patriots, so thank you for putting this on. I am Patrick Henry Jones. I'm 51 years old. I'm accompanied tonight with my beautiful wife, Lori Barclay Jones, and it's been an honor to come up to the north and get out of Shasta County and come up to see. Today we were touring the dams this morning, so I wanted to thank Rex, Frank, and Jerry for taking us out and taking a look at Copco and Iron Gate and really getting to put a picture to what Mark Beard has been talking to me about for many years. I know it's complicated, but it's a fight worth fighting for. Those dams need to stay in position, and there's just simply bad science, a lot of half-truths, no truths, and they're really a gem up there, and it would be a complete shame to remove them at great cost and environmental damage to boot. I grew up in Shasta County. I worked at Jones's Fort. It's a family gun shop. My dad started in 1962, and I started as a very youngster in that company. And so I've been there for over 40 years. And it's always been a challenge in a family business. We're a debt-free business. And, I was running my own department really in high school. And then after college and going to Sac State, I came back and started managing the shop, which I still do to this day. So it's a lot of challenges with small businesses, and especially a business like selling firearms. It's very challenging in California. We all know what kind of stress we are under with firearms in California, and we are under attack. The Second Amendment means a lot to me, and I will be the strongest voice in the entire legislature, not only the Assembly but the Senate. We need a fighter today on this issue and other issues more than ever. I've got 40 years experience in this area, and it will not be taken lightly. Sorry about that. And so that is big on my mind. Some of the other issues that are very important to me, besides force management and the mismanagement of our force, we have seen devastating fires, and we know all the issues there. Those are things that we have to fight extremely hard for. Our forests are greatly overgrown, and they have to be thinned down, and they have to be thinned now. That's not happening out of Sacramento, and it just shows you how out of touch Sacramento is with what's happening in our world in District 1. Water rights, of course, are a big issue, and for me, I'm one of the very few candidates talking about a very serious problem in California, and that's fully funding pensions. And we have a pension tsunami mounting, and it is affecting every city and every county. In my home county of Shasta County and on my own city, it's affecting us greatly. I was also elected for 8 years to the Redding City Council, first starting in 2006. I was mayor in 2010, and I ended my term in 2014. And our budget is a wreck because of these pensions, and it affects the quality of life for every city and every county in California because how much money is going to the pensions. We don't have enough police, fire personnel, we can't fix roads because the good chunk of it is going to pensions. There hasn't been a lot of motivation on the local level to talk about pensions. There's just not been a lot of political will. But it's starting to grow in Sacramento, and the time now is to start talking about it. There is motivation now to start fixing and addressing this problem, start talking about it, and I think almost every city and county is now prepared to do that. And if we fix that problem alone, we can start fixing city by city and county by county and helping their budgets tremendously. It is a serious problem, and it's coming. And with the next correction, which is coming estimated 6, 7, 8 years, it will become a super serious problem, and some cities and counties will go into default if it's not dealt with today. So it's a problem that's happening very quickly. I would like to see no defaulting on your CalPERS payments, and that's why we have to fix this problem. So I appreciate you having me here today. I look forward to your questions very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Lane, you got 5 minutes.
Does this mic work? Great. Hello everyone, my name is Lane Rickard. I am a local Warren Redding native. My family has had a tool and die shop in Redding, California for nearly 50 years now. My grandfather was a Shasta County Sheriff Deputy and an Anderson Police Department. Through my parents, I learned a very hard work ethic, getting to work in my parents' business and getting to experience what it was like to be a small business owner. I really sympathize with small business in this district. I started in politics when I was 18. I was a political strategist for a successful city council campaign in Redding. Through that campaign, it led to my internship with State Senator Ted Gaines. I interned for about a week, and afterwards they hired me on as a district rep, and I worked there for about 5 years. I want to start by saying this to all of you. I wholeheartedly believe that State Senator Ted Gaines did not give you the representation that you deserve. I understand that he had a business to run, but that does not give him an excuse to not give the constituents the best representation they deserve. And I will make one promise to you right now. If I get elected into the assembly, this is going to be a full-time job for me. I will not be focusing on anything else other than making sure that the constituents of this district get the best representation they deserve on both a local and state level. Here's a fact that you already know. The Republican legislature is outnumbered 19 to 61. 19 to 61. We need to start working towards rebuilding the Republican Party here in California if we want to make change. We need to start engaging with new voters. We need to start working with our counterparts down south in Republican offices, and we need to get more Republicans in office. I don't think it's an absurd idea to say, let's get 30 senators. Let's fight for that first. Right there, we can start fighting these tax bills, these gas tax bills, these property tax bills that are coming through Sacramento. With all this being said, I've assembled a team, and together we've created a platform of public safety, disaster relief, and development. For public safety in this district, we experience crime rates that are higher, or that are double or even triple than that of the national average. In Redding, you're more likely to experience crime than in Sacramento, San Francisco, or even Los Angeles. Now, I bet it's a great feeling up here in Siskiyou County to be able to leave the doors unlocked. But in other parts of this district, we have to sleep with one eye open. And my fear is that someday that might happen throughout all of Assembly District 1. For disaster relief, I think everyone in this district really witnessed firsthand how the fires closed in on our homes and the homes and businesses of our friends and families. Along the I-5, the I-5 was shut down for miles. We lost tens of thousands of dollars because of these fires. I think it's safe to say that many, if not all, of the cities and counties in this district are vulnerable to a natural disaster happening to them. We need to increase funding for fire prevention systems so we can make sure that disaster is prevented before it even begins. Ideas like reducing tree density. We have had in California a higher tree density level than we have in the past 100 years. I don't know now with the fires that have completely destroyed our forests, but we need to bring lumbering back to Assembly District 1. We need to improve our ground fuels. We need to implement fire strategies, prevention systems. What happened to Paradise during the Camp Fire? It can happen to so many areas in this district. Dunsmuir, here in Wairika and Montague. I mean, we even saw it happen in Redding. There was a huge problem with evacuation notices. Traffic was stuck for miles. Fires were burning alongside cars as they were trying to escape. The state of California needs to implement better fire prevention strategy measures. I believe that homelessness in this district is a dire concern to all. We need to put better funding into state mental health programs so we can help individuals get the proper care they need so they can become rehabilitated and brought back into society as proud and productive members. I'm sorry, is that 30 seconds left? There's so much to say and so little time to say it. I'm looking forward to have a conversation with you all about the issues that I want to resolve as your assembly. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lane. Joe, you're up.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Joe Turner. I'm from Lassen County. I specifically live in Milford. I've lived all over the North State. And I just want to let everybody know, when I was 17 years old, I raised my right hand and I swore an oath to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. To me, that means I have to understand what's in it. I eventually deployed overseas multiple times. I spent a year in Egypt as part of a peacekeeping force. I also spent 9 months in Afghanistan, which ultimately led to my medical retirement out of the military. The thing I really learned, specifically going to theater and coming home, there was a fight over in Afghanistan to keep the war away from our home front. But there's a war on our home front that we're not even paying attention to. And what I want to let everybody know that really sets myself apart out from the other candidates, we all agree mostly on the same things. We are going to agree mostly on the same types of things. And that's a good thing because we're running for the Republican support. But this is a war. And I've been to war. And I am scared to death of what will happen to our home if we do not fight. Our family, our friends, our neighbors, our businesses are fleeing California in droves. It's awful. The main reason I decided to run, my wife wanted to leave. I married a single mom. I'm now the father, I am the father to a very wonderful little girl. And we are terrified of the transgender indoctrination coming out of Sacramento that will be forced into our schools. It is child abuse. It is akin to suicide induction, which is the early teaching of suicide prevention to little kids when they have no business knowing about it. They don't understand it, they can't grasp it, and it increases the rates of suicide among them. That's why the whole transgender percentages are rising, is because they're being inducted through indoctrination. The Constitution is near and dear to my heart. I absolutely believe that California is in sedition. The only way that we can fix our real problems is by fixing the Republic. The Republic is broken. It's been abandoned. We live in an oligarchy. 120 legislators, that's not a republic. It's not even a democracy, that's an oligarchy. There is nothing that we can do in a super minority to ask them to change, to convince them to change. They're never going to give up power. And we have to come to the conclusion that we cannot be reasonable with unreasonable people. We have to try every different avenue of approach that has not been used. I've been saying this throughout my campaign. I want to sue California on every single front. The Senate Republicans in Nevada are now suing Governor Sisolak over illegally and unconstitutionally raising taxes. We have to get the union involved, which means the federal courts, our federal legislators, other states signing on as plaintiffs and doing everything else that's possible. As far as the states right now, Oregon and California agreeing to take out the dams, it's unconstitutional. They don't have the authority to do that without Congress's approval. It's illegal. It has to stop. We have to manage our forests. We have to bring the timber industry back. We have a fortune in tax receipts in our forests to help do things like fund our pensions, pay for our schools, pay for fire abatement. We have to stop putting our firefighters at unnecessary risk by forcing them to fight catastrophic fire after catastrophic fire that's destroying our towns and our homes. We have to take care of these things, but we have to be aggressive about it. We can't do politics as usual because it does fail us as usual. The Republican Party has humiliated us. I'm on the platform committee for the CRP. I'm the only one who brought up federalism in the platform committee that I'm going to be fighting for in the next convention. I was the Lassie County Republican Central Committee chairman for a year. I'm our medically retired staff sergeant, and I absolutely love our home and our union and our freedom, and that's exactly what I want to fight for. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Okay. We will start with our first question of the evening, and Mr. Jones, you're up first. You have 3 minutes. And then we'll go next to Lane and then to Joe. Okay. In your opinion, what is the role of the State Assembly?
So it is much like when I was on Reading City Council. It's to represent the district. And so that means you got to get out in the district, you got to know the issues, and then you have to fight for them. So it's not just knowing issues, but you got to take that back to Sacramento and fight to represent and to fix problems wherever we go. You know, obviously here in Siskiyou County, the Klamath Dam issue is a big issue. And I do believe that if we fight hard enough, we can stop these dams from being removed. I don't think it's an issue we need to avoid. I think we need to fight for it, and we need to fight extra hard. In Nevada County, they have some issues as well. They need to be fought for. Modoc County, Shasta County, we have some new very tall wind turbines coming in, and it's upset a whole neighborhood in the Round Mountain, Montgomery Creek area, and they need that to be fought for. It has some effects in their neighborhood, and nobody's listening. Right now, that's the general consensus, is that most folks in the counties that I've gone to, they don't feel they have representation, that Sacramento is not listening, and they don't have an assemblyman that is really caring about those issues, because that is the job. And while I live in Shasta County, and if these Siskiyou County dams were removed, they don't necessarily affect me, but they do affect you. And that is the job, is to fight for that, because really the majority of the people here know that those dams need to stay in place. And so we have lots of different issues like that, and you got to fight for those issues. And that's why I'm running, is I am a fighter. And I believe we can. I believe one person can make a difference. People have said, you know how outnumbered you are in the assembly, but we have watched people overcome great odds before and do great things. But you have to try, and you have to fight hard. Most people know that if we continue to go the way that we're going, that is not what most of us want. Most of us want a change. We're not happy with the direction that California is going. District 1 is not being represented correctly. We need a fighter, and I believe I'm that person. Thank you.
Thank you. Lane, do you need me to repeat the question, or have you got it?
Is the mic okay? Great. I wasn't sure if there was an on-off option. Sorry about that. No, I understood the question. I think the role of a state assemblyman, you can really break it down into 3 things. 1, make sure the constituents get the best representation that they deserve. And I made that promise to you. This will be a full-time job to me. I will put all of my time and effort into making sure that all the constituents in this district get the representation that they deserve. It's only an hour and 40-minute drive. An hour and 40 minutes to make it here. What is that to hear the issues that you deem important? To fight for the beliefs that you believe in. 2, I think an assemblyman does need to know the issues. They need to pass legislation that represents the people. I will work with organizations, constituents, and I will make sure that we have legislation that accurately reflects this assembly district. I will make sure that my platform issues, within the first year, I will have 3 bills that would address my 3 different platforms. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if with how many powerful people are working on this dam removal, if it's going to happen. If you want me to fight that, that's something I'm going to fight for you. But I'll tell you right now, what we can do on a state level, we can get the state of California to reimburse you some of that money that they forced the ratepayers to pay for this dam removal project. This was a private issue to begin with. State and federal government shouldn't have gotten involved, but now that they have, it's their responsibility to make sure that property values aren't being hurt, that schools aren't being affected, that short term, your water quality is not going to be harmed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The the California Assembly is to represent the people in California. The Assembly is akin to the House of Representatives, which is supposed to be the closest body in the state government to the people. It's supposed to reflect the constituents within the district, being the people. It's not supposed to represent special interests. It's not supposed to represent any consortium other than the people. And the biggest problem is, which has been stated, and everybody all here knows, our representation is inadequate. The constitutional model would be 30 to 50,000 people for a legislative district for representation. It's impossible for someone to represent all of their constituents adequately with 500,000 or 1 million people. It's not possible. It has to change. We are in an oligarchy. Our assembly needs to reflect our republic, which in turn respects our representation for our people, and then the Senate needs to represent the geographic interests of the subdivisions like the counties. We have to have a true bicameral legislature if we want to adequately be represented, and we have to fight California on that. We have to sue California on that. The federal courts, or the Supreme Court specifically, is one reason why we're in that problem. Proposition 28 in 1926 apportioned our Senate to go towards the counties. We still had 40, but we had 58, some had to share. It was slightly better, but the federal model is what we have to force from Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution through the courts to force California. We have to fix the republic, and California is not going to fix the republic itself.
Thank you.